Hello, my name is Yote, and this is my submission video for Summer Games Done Quick. This is Lightfall all levels, contrary to any percent. I did the any percent video first, so I'm going to refer to um, a lot of the tech that I explained in there. But this is not 80%. This is all levels. So released, I think, in April of 2019. Bishop Games added 4 DLC levels that are optional and not included in the this full speedrun of any percent. So this category goes through the process of, if we go to a 100%, or there's a better way to show this. Hold on. Unlocking the these yellow shards in each of the levels, and instead of finishing the game with Celestial Palace, like we do 9%, we play these subsequent 4 levels that are supposed to be, sorry, my phone keeps going off, let me turn that off real quick, that are supposed to normally be unlocked with the Paddlewood shards in a normal save file. But since this is an already completed save file, we just simulate unlocking these last 4 levels by doing it in a full run. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And I need to compare it to 9%. So the levels are going to be a lot longer. There's going to be a lot more tech showcase, and still a lot of the same any percent skips, which is a fortunate side effect of where the collectibles are placed. But so this will all make sense in just a minute. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, just like normal, we're going to start off and welcome to Numbra. So the gimmick of Lightfall is that we have the Shadow Core, which is this block that you see me placing beneath my feet. There are 4 different uses for it. I can either A, like this, place it beneath my feet, attack like you see there or here, and then I can place a block to the side of me, which functions as either a shield or a wall jump. The tools in this game are very versatile. And then there is one more block that we can use to interact or put stationary above us. But that was all explained in the 90% video. What's new are these doors that you see. You've already seen me walk over and grab 2 of these shards. And the gimmick with these is that once collected, which we can do by holding the same button that we attack. And an interesting thing, and you'll see it next time I do it. Actually, no, I'll just point out next time I do it. But we have to carry them from their stashing point all the way to a checkpoint, where, as you can see, there are notches that fit the triangle-shaped pieces. So you can see they're empty now, but by the end of this level, we should fill all, in this case, 2 of them. Most levels have 2. Some of the ones in Acts 3 and 4 are a little more. But for the most part, still the same function as the game. We're gonna come up here. We have to wait for this door to open real quick. We're gonna sneak down here and grab this shard. So you might be wondering if you've watched the Ampersand video and are familiar with that run. Now, if Mazeless is such a big skip, why can't we do it in this category? Well, instead, we can come up here and do it just like we would normally do in 90%. That was a good skip. Except rather than going all the way across, we can jump down here, come down and open this door, and we still skip the maze. Come up here, grab this other Paddlewood shard. That's what they're called, Paddlewood shards. And we can come back and continue level as normal. So here's another instance of the interact block. I just want to pop it in here as soon as possible so I don't have to be held in that stationary state, which hopefully you won't have to see. But yeah, we're collecting our shards, we're progressing through the game. This is our first boss level, yet again, Lost Lagoon. There's a gimmick here with a... I've been using that word way too much. Anyway, we're going to grab this shard, And if you watched the 90% video, you would know that there is a boat here that we're supposed to take, but instead it's faster to skip it. And we can come up here. Well, we actually have to come up here anyway because there's a shard that we need. So one thing you're seeing me do here is that when I place a block, particularly a shield block, it will not, materialize into a solid object until the character there, Nox, makes contact with it. So I can use that to my advantage to block obstacles like lasers, and still, move and yes, and still move and what's the word I'm looking for? Traverse the level, which is a really useful piece of tech that allows us to do some crazy skips, which you'll see in the next level. Coming up to our first boss, I'm gonna do the cycle manip again by self-destructing. And what that did is that because I'm in this sanctioned section of the map, any death that I take will move this wave to a particular point, and by dying there at the checkpoint, I can set up the cycle so that it's consistent no matter where I am in the level, because each level has a global cycle for objects like those rotating platforms or the waves, and in Act 2 we'll see a lot more cycles. And trying to manipulate and stay on top of these cycles will become a lot more prevalent and important. Right, so moving on, Act 2, to the more dreary, depressing swamp. There's a lot of new obstacles introduced here. But first we have to do this tight jump called branch skip. Got it, very good. We'll see in just a few moments. A lot of cycles, moving platforms, and slimes that we have to deal with. But we're gonna come up here, grab this Paddlewood's shard. So an important thing to note is that this interact block can be placed like that through walls. So we're gonna abuse that there to get this shard a little bit faster. There we go. So slimes, saplings, which we'll see in just a few minutes. These are the slimes. Everything here operates on a very consistent cycle. And we have ways to manipulate that, which we won't see just yet, where we can abuse in-game time, and we can self-destruct. And because while we're dead, the in-game timer won't continue, but the cycles will, and we can sort of, rather than waiting, sort of wait out the real time but not lose any in-game time. So hold on, this is very difficult. So here you can see I'm trying to abuse that principle that I explained earlier of not touching the block and having it follow you in order to skip these lasers. This one up here is the hardest one, called third laser skip. I'm jumping too high. Yeah, that's rather unfortunate. I'm gonna go for it one more time, otherwise, because I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's one of those things that just requires a lot of practice. Let's try this. There we go. See, just had to take my time a little more with it. There we go. So that's our first level in Act 2. Now we're going to move on to Madness in the Mud. Definitely a fan favorite. Here we have to deal with these hornets' nests. You can see there, one already tried to kill me. These bees like to sort of, they're the judge, jury, and executioner of a good early game, because sometimes because they operate randomly, they can like that, either choose to kill you, they can fly in the opposite direction. I forgot a shard. Would not be the first time I've done that. Got too caught up trying to explain the bees. Yep. Let's see, where was I? What is there to talk about? Oh yes, the bees are. They fly at you in a random direction based off of, or supposedly based off of position. But since I don't quite understand how it works, everyone in the community just calls it random. Yep, we're coming down here. Can't do an oasis skip this time because we have to grab a shard. And you can see an instances of us using our interact block in order to gain some height. Try to clip this wall. No. A little too low. This is not ideal. There we go. We got it that time. Not the best, but we're managing. Yeah, the movement in this category is a lot trickier and a lot more precise than any percent. So there's a much higher skill ceiling, which is always nice to show off. Yeah, come up here, grab another one of these shards. So it's in a way kind of like, you know, a shorter Banjo-Kazooie game where you have to run around. Maybe it's not even worth comparing to Banjo-Kazooie. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just it's not the same as far as all the collectibles, but oh shoot. Alright, we're fine. Okay, we're managing. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of just a much shorter collectathon. Considering just the lacking number in collectibles compared to the example which I used, Banjo-Kazooie. Anyway, here we are at the Temple of Mictlan, Act 2's boss level. This is the hardest and longest level in the game, so I'm gonna have to really focus here. And remember to grab all 4 of the collectibles now, as you might have noticed by the checkpoints being a lot taller. So I'm gonna try to squeeze through this head, and let's see. Okay, we got it. So these are the crushers. If you stand or have your shadow core within their green area, which extends further below the platform than they should, they will attempt to crush you, as the name might imply. We're gonna come up here, grab another one of these shards. Slime, that's one thing I never really explained. We want to try... Slopes and slime are 2 things that will slow us down before just running across it. So we want to spend as much time either in the air or just generally away from it as we can. So yeah, that's why you will always see me trying to jump over slopes, because the game, when it registers you going in 2 directions, or in the case with the slime, tries to apply friction, it slows us down. So another death whoop there, because the cuts, just like the crushers, this checkpoint triggers way too far below where I think it should. Or I guess it would make sense with the hitbox. Yep, another laser skip. Very good. Come up here, sneak in, grab this shard. And here we're going to do a trick that's unique to this category. Just like the other checkpoint. Here, let's see if I can do this. By jumping sort of right below that pit of spikes, I can trigger this checkpoint way down here and avoid having to climb down and take the other route, which saves it just a tad bit of time, but it's time saved nonetheless. Yep, that's all the shards. This has actually gone very well so far. Now we still have to do the same Michelin boss fight, which contributes to the length of this level. Yeah, this category compared to any percent is much more of a marathon rather than a sprint, with like 4-minute segments versus minute-long segments. I think the average here is more of like 2.5 minutes rather than like a minute and a half, just because of the a lot more of the exploring which we do in the level, which again better shows off the game's movement, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They're two very unique categories in this game. Yeah, this boss is the same. We want to break these crystals and spew all this green acidic parasite goop, slime. I don't know what to call it. Into the ever hungry vacuum cleaner that is Michelin over here. One more crystal to go. Oh no! Okay, so that usually never happens. That's one instance of the RNG platforms being a jerk. Yeah, I've not died here in a long time. So, yeah, we have to do it all again, unfortunately. So. Go. This, needless to say, as an auto-scroller, would be a great time for donations. It's not paying attention. Okay. Yeah, needless to say, a very costly death. Still a mandatory section of the game. We have no way around this. There you go. That's Act 2. So this level is probably one of the hardest levels in the game, even though it's such a breeze in 90%, because the collectibles here, even though there are only 2, they are 2 very difficult and cycle-dependent collectibles. The second one being more cycle-dependent than the first. So here, there's a lot more peril as far as thorns and other obstacles go, as you'll see here. So I have to really be careful and try to be fast at the same time. Alright, there we go. So, we're not done yet, we still have to get to the checkpoint. But yeah, we should be in the clear. So that's our first one. Also, the nice part about the longer segments is we get to hear more of this very soothing track, which from my experience does not, do the atmosphere of this level justice. Little fumble there. Now we have a trick called Axe Clip, where we're going to try and jump through a very small space in this spinning object here. Yep, okay. So that trick is a lot harder than it looks, and I'm actually very fortunate to have gotten it first try. But as you can see, I have to jump in a really awkward position where I can either A, jump too high and cling to the wall, or jump too low and fall into the spikes rather than onto the little piece of landmass, which I'm trying to land on. But yeah, really happy that that went well. And now we just kind of finish the level as we normally would. Oop. That's never happened before. There we go. 216, very good for that level. And now we have 3-2 yet again, Viper's Forest. I'm going to try to do the same bird skip jump here as any percent. There we go, we got it. Although we do have to take a detour down here and grab this shard that's located in the maze. Again, just like the previous level, this movement here is very precise, although a little less perilous. I think going for the out of bounds skip here is slower, but I am going to go for it just because I want to show it off. Yeah, we'll do this. So yeah, this is the same force out of bounds and 80%, except it doesn't actually save any time here. But you can still, you know, have fun climbing over top of the geometry. If I can get it right. There you go. It's also cool to just see the paddlewood shards sort of just, you know, nicely trailing behind us. I haven't actually timed that, so it might. I think I did in my PB. So yeah, who knows? Anyways, now we're moving on to Sylveon. So this is just this is the boss level of Act 3, and what would probably be the climax? Not even the climax. A high point or very tense point in the 80% run. This is a little more laid back and relaxed because we don't have to go for time cycle skip because we have to grab a powderwood shard instead. And you know, actually, you know, other than that, it's the same. Yeah, this is a difficult level. Okay, see, we're gonna have to, as we go to grab all 5 of these keys and put them in a door to unlock the entrance to Act 4, I'm gonna have to grab a number of paddlewood shards. Okay. So what I'm trying to do, these crushers here are not, their hitboxes are very inaccurate. And I'm going to try and jump onto the corner of them so I can reset my shadow cores. But unfortunately, it's not working out that well for me. Alright, we'll take it slowly and safely here. Alright. Yep. So, unlike the keys though, the shards do stash themselves when we pass checkpoints, which is very nice. I'm gonna go for this. Alright, nice. So yeah, we're off cycle, but we should be alright. We'll wait. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just play this extra safe. Because I really don't want to die and lose 2 minutes here. That would be rather unfortunate. Because yeah, if I die, I'd lose 2 minutes because these keys would have to return themselves to their home pedestals. But the rest of this level is going to play out like any percent. That includes, there's a flashing lights section up ahead. I'm going to warn you now, anyone who is sensitive or prone to seizures due to flashing lights, to look away now. But for those of you watching, this is a just sort of a very normal climbing section. Like the bright lights, like you do this so many times that the bright lights don't really phase you anymore. And there's also a paddlewood shard stashed in the wall here that we're gonna have to grab. Yep, there's the key. Yep, grab the shard and we're gonna exit. And you are free to look back if you were not previously doing so. So we're gonna solve this riddle real quick. Grab the last key, and that is one of the hardest levels in the game. Done. Yep, that's Sylveon. Alright, so moving on. Act 4, not the final act of this game in this category, but still a very difficult act with a lot of difficult tricks. So this level, like most levels in Act 4, are going to have a lot more exploring to them. This level has a lot of nooks and crannies that we don't explore in 80% because they are optional nooks and crannies, but we need to come up here and grab these paddlewood shards, and of course I screwed that up, that's fine. But I guess it's good, more time to explain the orbs. There are both red and teal orbs, you can see the teal orbs here, but they grow at a steady rate and you can destroy them with your attack block, as you can see me doing there. Yeah, they grow and shrink on a cycle. Now I'm going to take a detour, come down here, grab a hidden shard here, and we're going to take a detour real quick, just to, never mind, I need to prime this properly. So by holding my key before grabbing the shard, the instant I grab the shard, I reach the range in which I can grab the shard, I will grab it immediately. So I come down here, grab one last shard. And there we go. So I'm gonna come down. Alright. So one last little laser section. And we'll be moving on to the hidden grotto. Just like any percent, we're gonna do that same cycle, self-destruct, because we want to set up these the orbs in the cell in a very specific way so that we don't have to wait, but instead we can sacrifice some real time so that we can save game time. There we go. Nice little shave and a haircut. I screwed something up. This might be a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna play it safe. Yep, normally I would go with the bottom route, but because of the mistake that I made, I'm gonna come over top so I don't die. Yep, so this is fog. We're gonna go ahead and kill the bird. So we can just kind of slide on this bird here. We can't use our any of our shadow core abilities in this fog, so we kind of have to rely on just the bare bones platforming, which I think is a really cool obstacle that the developers included. And one last shard that I almost forgot that existed. Go down here with the fish. I almost got killed by the shark. All right. And this is number score. So I'm gonna have to focus here. This level is very difficult in execution, though it's a little easier considering it's not at the end of the run and there's a little less pressure. which is always a cool thing to see with longer categories. Having run both any percent and all levels. Just the varying amount of tension in the same segments by increasing the length of the run. Because normally when I play this, I'm always under a lot of pressure, but here, I mean, there are hard tricks, but yeah, every level has hard tricks, more or less. Yep. So here are the red orbs. You can see they grow and shrink a lot faster, making them a lot more dangerous. Also, here, unfortunately, I can't sneakily save any game time with the what's it called? The death warp to skip the cutscene here. Because if I die with a paddlewood shard, it would go back to its original location. And there you go. By being teleported to the checkpoint, we put it back. Yeah, and there's one more to grab, and then we'll have to do the same climb. Alright, here we go. This is actually a little bit different because of the cycle. Oh, damn. That's really unfortunate. So, now I get to rant about the corners in this game. So, they have a weird property where if you sort of imagine like a stereotypical like ceramic pot where it's curved at the bottom, but then it slowly gets skinnier as you go to the top, but then at the very top it widens out again. The top of these corners is kind of like that, but if you bounce off, or if you try to grab it at the very top, you'll bounce off. And you can see I narrowly avoided it there. But in that one case, it sort of repelled me in a strange way. And since we can't use our shadow core, we can't really recover from that. So the game kind of... not even the game, but the hitboxes in its very peculiar shape can easily mess you up. So this level's the same as any percent. There are no shards here. So we're instead going to try the same cycle skip. We're doing a very precise jump here. Hopefully I'll get it this time. I didn't get in my any percent video, so I'd like to show it off here. There we go, we got it. Yeah, it's very difficult because of the launch pads and just how the vertical camera just can't keep up. Yeah, we got to the auto scroller 4 seconds earlier. Save a lot of time in the any percent run. 4 seconds here is a little less extreme because it's a lot. This category just has not gone through the same optimization. And there's just a lot more room for improvement, especially just in the caliber runs. I'm gonna go down here because I don't want to die. Yeah, there you go. So, oh, nice gold. This is not the end of the run. So because for the extra DLC levels are going to be played as ILs, or ILs being individual levels, they're not incorporated directly into the full game speedrun. I'll have to check that number. I don't think I forgot a shard. But 48% doesn't seem run, so this may not be a valid run, but either way, the still gets the point across. yeah, we're gonna start knocking out these last 4 levels. It's important to note that we don't have to we don't need any paddlewood charts here, so we can just kind of run through the level like a sort of any percent style. But this, so there are 4 levels that are designed based off of some of the core mechanics in each act, and it sort of twists them and makes them a lot harder with a more focus on cycles and just, you know, running and jumping gameplay rather than stuff like lasers and puzzles and so on and so forth. They're designed to be, you know, difficult challenges for a more seasoned player. Let's see, what else is there? There's one other thing I really wanted to mention. It's not crossing my mind. On a side note, you may have noticed there's a lot less checkpoints and a lot more spikes. Oh, yeah, this is referred to as typically as an Act 5 or an Act exclusive, or for those fans of Mega Man, like the X stages. Anyways, you're seeing me here doing a very complicated and precise cycle manip. So hopefully I get this. Sweet. Alright, so what I was able to just barely squeeze through that door as it was closing by doing a double self-destruct there. So I didn't really have that much time to explain, but it's gone now. We did it. But now we do have to deal with the peril of this level. This is definitely the hardest level out of all the DLC levels. So I took a lot of focus time here. Just take it slow and steady. Almost died. Okay. And, okay, we did it. Whew, that is not easy, and I hope I didn't blow into my mic there. If I did, I'm sorry. Alright. The hardest level is out of the way, but these last 2 are still nothing to scoff at. These still carry on the challenge of being extraordinarily difficult. Not necessarily because of the tricks, but just as the general movement remains very precise. By, you know, trying to reset off of a lot of moving platforms, so on and so forth. While all trying to, you know, move through the level without stopping. Which is where, you know, these levels are, you know, they are further increased in difficulty. Just by the aspect of trying to go fast. Or the prospect of trying to go fast, I don't know. English is hard. I do have a habit of using the wrong words and, you know, stuff like idioms. Like, I think I don't know. I can't come up with a good example right now. Partially because I don't know which one's right and wrong. Like, if I say kick the bucket, kick the can, I mean, or, you know, expressions like bought the barn versus bought the farm. Or, oh, there's a really good one. Anyways, that was a gold. Okay, wasn't actually an ILPB, but good on the split. Anyway, wrapping up, this is the final test, which is sort of like Numbers Core on steroids. It's not easy. So, the movement here is very particular. I'm gonna try my best. so I'm off cycle, so why am I... Alright. Right, okay, I figured it out. Yeah, I completely forgot how to do that. Yeah, we have to climb up here. And then... This is going to be essentially one long checkpoint. Because we're going to skip one, because it's faster. I'll just try to play it extra cautiously. Try to make it to the end. It's a very long, drawn-out section here. It's not. This level is not named the final test for no reason. It's not easy. And you might notice just the same radar platforms that have spikes on the side of them. Those have not changed from the last time we were in this same numbers core style of level. We are still going to try to do the same cycle skip if necessary, while trying to go horizontally. So this is a lot more difficult, and time is coming up if I don't die. That will make sense in just a minute. Yep. Alright, so time's coming up. I want to finish this level, and time. So, not too bad. 36:18. 4 minutes behind my my summer best. About 2.5 behind my PB. Let's see. What is I've never actually looked at the real time for this run. I'd say maybe 41, 42 minutes would be a safe estimate. Actually, landing it if I'm the... Yeah, I think 40 is a safe estimate. Because that did have a Micklin death. Which is probably the most that can go wrong, losing a minute and a half in one section. Yeah, thank you very much to the Games on Quick Submissions Committee for watching this, and for hopefully considering adding it to the schedule of the marathon. Just to... No, there's really nothing else I can think of saying. Except, yeah, thank you, and have a great rest of your day.